Hello everyone, I'm Deborah from DeborahAdele's Craft Room. Today we're going to be painting a mouse ornament. These are the colors that we're going to be using for this project. They're Americana acrylic paints by DecoArt, and the colors are red iron oxide, dove gray, graphite, Santa red, avocado, lamp black, snow white, and medium flesh. We'll also need glue. I'll be varnishing with DuraClear gloss varnish. Today's project is a mouse painted on an ornamental gourd. This is a pear gourd. The first thing I did was drill a hole for the loop. Then I drilled a hole for the nose. And while I was drilling the holes for the ears, I put the nose in so that you can get a better idea of the placement for the ears. I drew the oval on with a pencil. And now I'm ready to paint. The first thing I do is paint the entire gourd dove gray. With the first coat of dove gray, you should still be able to see the lines on that oval for the belly. While I'm waiting for the first coat of gray to dry, I'm going to paint these ears. What I did was I got some Sculpy Clay, rolled it into a ball, and squeezed it. I left it thick enough so that a toothpick, when inserted, has room on both sides. I did 2 of them the exact same size. Now I'm going to paint them dove gray first. It's easier to paint the ears off the gourd than on. Let the ears dry for a minute. I'm applying the second coat of dove gray to the mouse's body. I'm only putting 1 coat on the belly area. While I'm waiting for the second coat to dry on the mouse, I'm going to get back to the ears. Using medium flesh, paint a circle on the inside of the ear, but don't have it go all the way to the sides. This is the mouse's inner ear. Try making both of them the same size if you can. These look pretty close. They'll probably need a second coat. Okay, with a number 8 flat brush, we're going to shade around the belly with graphite. That's the color of the paint. You use the lines that you can still see, and you just brush around. What I did, because the edges were so sharp on the shading, is I took a little bit of the dove gray on a really dry, scruffy brush and just lightly pounced to, get rid of that line. Now, with the same scruffy brush, we dip into white and we pounce his whole belly, just coming up onto the shading a little bit. This is kind of like the first Santa ornament that I did. You'll want the edges to look a little furry. There you go. After it dries, if you see any areas that you think needs a little more paint, you just, put it on. Now set the nose in place so that you can put the mouth on with the nose as a guide. Just make a little a long dot there. And next, you'll want to dip dot the eyes. Use a flat-ended brush, not too big, not too small. There's one eye. Try to get it the same distance, and two eyes. They're crooked, but that must be the way I like them. Now with a toothpick, dip into some graphite and put 3 little whisker marks. On the mouse's face. There you go. You can take the nose out now for a while. Now we're going to put some eyebrows and eyelashes on this mouse. Get your paint inky. Touch your brush down and pull. Again, on the other side, touch your brush down and pull. Okay. Now I'm going to put some eyelashes on. Very small ones on the sides of his eyes. One. Try to make them both the same. We'll see if I can do that this time. Okay. There you have it. While that's drying, we're going to put some holly leaves and holly berries at the top of his belly. It'll be like a bow tie. If you'd rather make a bow tie, you can look at my video of the ghost holding the pumpkin and watch those instructions and do the same thing here. Put a dot in the middle. This is avocado. And paint the holly leaf. That'll probably need another coat. Okay. Now we're going back to the ears while this dries. With a number 6 flat brush, you dip it in the water, and with red iron oxide, a tiny bit of red iron oxide, you shade the inner ear. goes, one's done. The ears are ready to put on the gourd. We're going to let them dry just for a minute though while we finish up other things on the gourd. With a small brush, the back end of a small brush, and Santa Red, put the holly berries on the tie, the holly tie. You can put just one. If you do, put it in the center. This one's a little higher than the center, but because I'm going to put 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we're going to dip dot the little shiny spots on the eyes first. Okay. You can put one in the mouth if you want. I'm going to paint some highlights in the inner ear as well. Get a little bit of white and thin it out with your liner, and put a line down like that. Do the other one on the same side. Okay, now I have a red nose here. This is red clay, but if you don't like the red, you can paint this any color you want. A black nose, a gray nose, a pink nose, but I think I'm going to leave it red. It'll look like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Mouse. We'll put a little glue on his nose. And put the nose in. And then a little glue if the glue bubbles up in the back of the ear, wipe it off with your fingers. There's one ear. Starting to look like something now. If your toothpicks are too long and the ear wants to push back out, just pull it out and cut it. Okay, so here's the mouse with his ears and his nose. Okay. Now I'm going to put some dip dots down his belly for buttons, and I'm going to do that in graphite. Try to get in the center. There you go. We're going to paint some arms on this mouse, also in graphite. I just drew an angle on each side. It's the same size. I used a piece of cardstock and just cut an angle and set it in the same place on each side. And now we're going to draw the arm and a hand with graphite. You line down to the elbow, and then you line down to the hand, and just put 3 little gnarly little fingers on the mouse. Take the end of your liner, put a dip dot at his shoulder, a dip dot at his elbow. Okay. Now we'll do it again on the other side. I have quite a bit of paint on the brush to do this. It's not thinned out. There you have it. He's got two little arms. Also with a white, put a little dot on his nose. Turn the gourd around and get your pencil. And you'll want to draw this in so that it doesn't go off crooked or anything. And right about a third of the way up, put a little dot, and then have the tail go off like that. And now paint that in also with graphite. Okay, there's the tail. I made it a little thicker at the starting point than at the end. Touch it up if you make a mistake, no problem. And there you have it. A little mouse Christmas ornament. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching my video. Please subscribe and click on the bell so that you get notifications of future videos.